Hi, I am the creator of Skin Harmonics. My name is Danny Neifert, and I created the very first Medi-Holistic skin resurfacing method and system. And so today, what I want to talk about is face and body skin. And of course, in order to talk about the differences between what our face skin and what our body skin needs, I want to talk a little bit about barrier restoration. Now, all of you guys that have been following me and I've been buying stuff knows that I have this whole jam about barrier restoration, and I want to go into some of the nuances with this, specifically how it applies to our face and body skin. So because what's kind of cool is that there's some overlap with this Medi-Holistic system. It used to be in the past that there was very specific marketing and very specific things that the old way of doing skincare products, conventional systems, had a way of marketing and hooking people on different face versus body products. And so what I've done is I've made, yes, face and body is different, and I've made, products that overlap and satisfy both, and then products that definitely do need to be given specifically to one or the other. So I want to break that down, and it's also a chance for me to go into a little bit more of nuance around barrier restoration when it comes to face and body skin. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and many of you guys know this, is the whole thing that creates moist skin is the balance between water and oil. Now, we have to have both. Both of those elements are working together to create moist skin. And that's like a really, really important thing to understand, because in the past, there was all of this old beliefs around clogging pores and withholding oil in a strategy to keep our skin clear, which is absolutely just doesn't work. So the first thing to understand is, in order to have moist, clear skin, it's paramount that you have the right balance between water and oil. So how do we do that, right? So when it comes to our skin, the skin on our face is much, much more porous than our body skin. We have a lot of pores on our face, especially like through here and the T-zone, but our entire face is especially porous compared to our body. So that means that our skin on our face has the capacity to literally drink water and receive even more of more lipids and a richer moisturizer, and more of that richer moisturizer than our body skin. So the one of the main differences between our face and body too is that our facial skin is more sensitive, and it requires less exfoliation than our body. And the other thing about our facial skin is that it's extra thirsty and it's hungry. Our face really loves to have dermal nutrients applied, whereas it's at this point just not cost effective to be doing that for our body skin. So when we layer our products for our face, it's very important that they're layered specifically. Like once we splash our skin over the sink or in the shower and our skin has absorbed all that water on our face, we want to dry our face, immediately give it the hydrating mist, immediately give it the serum, and it really will pull those things in. And then before that evaporates, then we apply the moisturizer. It's very much a layered sequence, and you have to just think layers. You have to think tiramisu even. And that water puff cloud that we insert specifically with a hydration serum and a dermal nutrient serum, usually, they're combined with my system, is that little water puff cloud, because it's inserted, gets trapped and goes in exactly where we want it to be, so that it can plump up fine lines, hold pore canals open, stabilize oil production, all of that. So so that's the basic sequence when it comes to treating our face. Now, when we compare that to what happens with our body skin, I only recommend facial exfoliation 1 to 2 times a month. And for our body, it's like maybe once a week. our body really likes to be exfoliated more often and with a heavier grit. Like on our body, I love to use like a sugar or salt honey scrub. It likes that heavier grit. Like I would never use that on facial skin because, again, remember the skin on our face is way more sensitive. So when it comes to our body skin, we can exfoliate it more. And the other major thing to understand about our body skin and how it's different is that we skip that step where we're inserting water. And I'll tell you why with a hydrating serum. And we're skipping the food part because we can't really afford to feed our whole body at this point with thermal nutrients. Maybe someday, but not now. Is that our body skin is just not as porous. And so it absorbs whatever water it's going to absorb in the shower and in the bath. And so by adding and trying to insert more is going to actually weaken the barrier, weaken the moisturizer that we're going to put on top of it. So the best strategy when we're trying to optimally hydrate our body skin is to step out of the shower, bath or shower, and all of our body skin has absorbed all that water. Dry it off immediately, get all the excess water off, and then we apply our body butter. And by doing it that way, we are trapping that water in our skin. And so what we want to avoid is if there's excess water on our skin, on our body skin, if we add a butter to it, we're going to basically turn that really thick, dense butter into a lotion. We're literally diluting it if there's a lot of water on our body skin. And that's what we don't want to do because this is kind of my next talking point about the nuance of this is that we don't want a lotion on our body skin. Because it just doesn't have the density to actually be effective. And so I discovered this years ago because everybody was, lotions. The market's just like saturated with them. And I used to make them. But what I discovered was that because lotions have a really high water content, they demand and require a lot of really bad preservatives. So if a formula has a lot of water in it, you're pretty much signing up for the heavy hitters in preservative, the more synthetic ones, the more harmful ones. And so in the beginning, years ago, when I started experimenting with density and when I started creating my very first, what I used to be called the face butter years ago, 15, 20 years ago at this point, I was reducing the water to see how much water I could take out of that formula so that I would not have to use synthetic and, a cocktail of bad preservatives. And in that process, I discovered that butters are way more effective. Like once you have a really good butter, when you use a lotion, you're just like, what's the point? Like a lotion has so much water in it that it's a very weak barrier. It's very wimpy. It allows for a lot of water to escape. So it's all about, using a dense moisturizer. And we also used to think years ago that something super dense was just too heavy for our skin because it was going to clog our facial pores. Well, guess what? It doesn't. It actually keeps our pores clear. And something really dense as a body moisturizer as well is way superior than a lotion. So, and that's why at this point, I've got 3 different butters that I sell just because to give variety to this and just so that there's choice around texture and smell a little bit. So we can, dual purpose all 3 of those butters. Now, Lamina, it does work really well on the body. You just have to be a little more committed to liquefying it. It's actually an incredible body moisturizer. But Unity, Trinity, and Truce are just a little bit more user-friendly because they are traditional. They're fluffy and soft. So let's see. I think that was kind of the thing I wanted to talk about with the difference between face and body. And it does take a little bit of getting used to having that little bit of residue on your skin, face and body. But it's just so worth it, because when you get used to that and you start to receive the benefits of that, your skin is plump. It's not all dry and itchy and scaly and all that. And it just feels so plump that after a while, once we have to relearn that new setting for, having that little bit of residue on our skin, it becomes, you'll start to feel naked without it, basically. You'll notice just how comfortable your skin will feel throughout the day when you have a really good barrier intact and applied in just the right way. So I hope that made sense to everybody. And any questions, as always, text me, email me, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.